kind of lazy, so I just want to get my work done very. Two things that I always use for research papers. Hi, I'm Aditi. If you can hear the AC car sound, I really apologize. It's the month of May. I have to keep the fan off. It's extremely hot. Okay. I thought I'll make like a different kind of video. Always like talk about concepts, psychological concepts and topics and stuff, and maybe vlogs. If you haven't, just check the last week ka vlog. It's like the one day in masters and how hectic and stuff it is and how I'm trying to balance life. Go check it out. Usme I also like gave a little snippets about presentations, so that is the video I'm making today for you. I kind of struggled thoda bahut for these presentations, so I thought that if you guys are also struggling with presentations, then I should like try to help you out. Also, it's not about what to do when you are presenting, but it's about the steps you have to take before you actually present, like all the things you need to do before you present, like how to prepare for your presentation. That is the topic of this video. Yes, preparing for presentations, presentation prep, PP. Okay, so it's the last presentation, like the last subject of presentation, which is tomorrow. Today is Monday, by the way. Tomorrow it is. Yesterday I did most of the work, but I thought I'll just like go through so to help you guys out. The topic is diagnostic. They have given us a diagnostic test, cars, and it is not cars. That's what you get when you actually try to Google this. This is actually a childhood autism rating scale. The problem with Googling is that there are a lot of websites, but how do you actually trust those websites? Just know this, that you're not supposed to just Google or use ChatGPT. When you Google, you get Psychology Today, you will get Very Well Mind, you'll get multiple websites. Don't trust any website because you don't know where they are getting their sources, right? They may be writing their own stuff as well. I'm not saying that they are bluffing, but there is a possibility that they could be bluffing. Like, we don't know what the source is. So always trust research papers, always, because research papers are not going to lie. So Google Scholar is amazing. So you have to use like the keywords. So like if I want to know more about cars, I would talk about development of cars, or cars use, cars administration, cars scoring, cars interpretation, all of that, right? So just to get more information about cars or anything that you're trying to find out. Abhi Google Scholar mein problem kya hai, that you cannot actually like download the paper. I mean, you don't need to download the paper, you can just read it wahan pe, pick some stuff from there, just copy paste or whatever and use it. But there are at times you don't get to read the whole research paper, or you don't get the parts that you want, you can't see it, you have to like pay, or you have to contact the authors to get the permission to read, और उतना टाइम नहीं होता है हम लोग के पास, हम लोग सब लास्ट मिनट में काम करते हैं. So what do you do then? Then you use Sci-Hub. So there is this DOI. I'll be putting up on the screen like some stuff so you will know what I'm talking about. This is DOI करके you get HTTP, या फिर there is this I and there are a lot of numbers and alphabets, ऐसे mixture करके ऐसे link type होता है, blue में होता है like a hyperlink. You copy it, you go to Sci-Hub and you paste it there. Sci-Hub में generally like 95% of whatever I've tried to find, like whatever research papers I want to find, I have found them. कभी कभी ऐसे होता है कि वहाँ पे नहीं मिलता है, तो मुझे कहीं पे भी नहीं मिला है. Okay, but then you will find the same type of research, like the same variables are used by somebody else and you'll find on Sci-Hub. So that is not the problem. That's the best part about research, is कि किसी ने तो ये same variables वापस use किए हैं. So two things that I always use for research papers, to find research papers, is Google Scholar and Sci-Hub. If you use ResearchGate, like if you Google directly the variables, then ResearchGate and there are some other websites, you will find the research papers. But again, this the same thing, कि pay करना पड़ता है, फिर you have to take the permission of the author to read. तो ResearchGate, for example, maybe DOI दिया होता है, तो वहाँ से भी you can directly copy the DOI and you can paste it on Sci-Hub and you will get the research paper. I do use websites, I'm not gonna lie, I do use websites, and I'll tell you why. Research papers sometimes can be like really, like the language is sometimes very difficult to understand. That's when these websites come in handy, because they kind of simplify what the authors are saying, like the researchers are saying. So in such situations, use those websites ka material where they have references. So at the end of the article there could be references. You open those references, just check what they are saying wo sahi hai ki nahi, and then you can use the material that they are saying on that in that article. That's what I do, and I think that's okay. If you think it's not, let me know why. So I can also learn from this, and everybody else can in this community. I missed one very important step. So I directly jumped into how you should do your research about stuff like the topic ke subtopics, but I did not talk about the subtopics. You should have like a skeleton of subtopics or prepared, because it would be easier for you to research and find out information. अगर कुछ subtopics के information नहीं मिलती, so you can scrap it. But also while trying to find information about your subtopics, you will find something more as well. Now these subtopics obviously are going to be different for different topics. When it comes to diagnostic test, because that's the one that we're talking about today, you will talk about the history. So you will give a little introduction about what this test is or this scale does. Second is you will try to find out the present the history, like kaha se ye develop hua. There could be other diagnostic tests that are also assessing autism, right? There is ADOS. There is one more that I don't remember, which I found when I was researching yesterday. I'll put it up on the screen if I remember it when I'm editing. So there are other ones, so you can also talk about the comparison between the two. Then you will also talk about the advantages of this diagnostic test. Then जैसे WISC में भी there is WISC 1, WISC 2, WISC 3, WISC 4, तो भाई WISC 4 तक गया है. तो अगर ऐसे updates हुए हैं, तो you can also compare and you can talk about कि अच्छा WISC 1 से WISC 2 पे क्यों गए, like why are we using WISC 2 now, why are we using WISC 4 now, like कुछ तो बदला है, क्यों बदला है. You can talk about that as well, depending upon आपको कितना मिलता है. You will generally find all of this information in research papers, because there are so many researches that is being done on this. Also you will talk about the age range and stuff. So like, because this is CARS, childhood autism rating scale, obviously it's about childhood, so there is going to be an age range. Are teenagers included in this, or are young adults included in this? What is the starting age? Do you start when they are like 2 months old? Do you start when they are 2 years old? So yes, abhi you will talk about. Then you will also talk about psychometric properties. This is basically testing का chapter. Mostly in Mumbai University में तो TY में आता है, TY BA in psychology. So if you want me to make video on this, let me know in the comment section as well. So ये सब भी आप लिखोगे, like you'll explain obviously, because psychometric properties are very important. Okay? Then obviously जब आप test या scales की बात करते हो, तो obviously there is a particular way you will administer the test on the client. So you will also talk about the method of administrating. Then you will talk about how you are going to score it. You will talk about how you are supposed to interpret those scores. अगर score मिल गया उसके बाद क्या, right? तो interpret भी करना पड़ेगा. मैं वहाँ पे देख रही हूँ because मैंने वहाँ पे points लिखे हैं. Also there are items as well. So you will talk about items before or after administration. So you will explain these items as well. So CARS में there are 15 items का scale, and each item actually tells you which is correlated with the main symptoms or symptomatic features of autism. Okay, so communication देख लेंगे, they will look at non-verbal cues, they will look at eye contact, so visual response, verbal response, ये सब देखेंगे, because that is the main thing. They will also look at the restrictive repetitive behaviors, hand flapping होगा या tapping होगा, क्या होगा. So ये सब measure कर रहे हैं, like they are assessing all of these features. So those are the items in this kind of scale. So every scale or every test कैसा है, is it a verbal test, is it a performance test, is it observing and then putting like a ratings there. So it depends from one scale or one test to the other. So uske hisab se you will have to talk about items or you won't talk about items. So these are the subtopics that I am going to talk about for cars tomorrow. And ये topics सोचने के बाद I started researching, which was the first thing I actually explained. I'm so sorry I messed it all up. I do not have like a proper script or anything for this. It's just my experience that I'm actually telling you guys. I forgot one more thing. तो जब आप scale या फिर test करते हो तो obviously you have to write a report as well, because अगर interpretation कर दिया तो आपको समझा as a clinician, how is the parent supposed to know? Sometimes for example जब IQ test वगैरह होते हैं or even autism, they are done so that people know कि अच्छा ये it can't be in this normal school, they have to be in a special school वगैरह, तो उसके लिए होता है. So you can't just interpret it and छोड़ दिया and then you just verbally tell. You have to like put it in a proper document, right? So report भी लिखना होता है. तो cars का we didn't find any report as such, but there is a way my team member found like how we can actually give a feedback or tell the parents or teachers जो भी है. तो वो भी explain करना पड़ेगा when it comes to any kind of test or scale. I totally forgot about this. This is also really important. Sorry for the background noise. It's the वो मच्छर पर कुछ तो मारने आते हैं ना, वो BMC वाले, वो चल रहा है. Okay, so let's come to PPT. I use Canva finally. So I last year अगर कोई PPT बनाना हो whatever, then I used to use Google Slides because it's just easier to like. मुझे तब पता नहीं था कैनवा पे बना सकते हैं. पहले तो ऑब्वियसली आई हैव यूज्ड पावरपॉइंट एंड स्टफ बिकॉज गूगल स्लाइड्स एंड देन शेयरिंग एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट वो था ही नहीं फॉर द लॉन्गेस्ट टाइम. बट नाउ वी हैव गूगल वेयर यू कैन लाइक शेयर स्टफ एंड लाइक एवरीबडी कैन यूज जस्ट वन डॉक्यूमेंट एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट. तो गूगल स्लाइड्स इज व्हाट आई यूज्ड टू यूज लास्ट ईयर जब हार्डली कुछ बनाना हो. बट दिस ईयर आई एम जस्ट यूजिंग कैनवा बिकॉज आई रियली लाइक द एलिमेंट्स थिंग दैट यू हैव and they're really cute and you can use them. अगर उसमें watermark भी आ जाए तो भी चल जाता है. They're really cute. I like using it. It's just convenient to get those very quickly and Google पे जाके search नहीं करना पड़ता है in all of those pictures. So I use Canva. You should use too. There are a lot of templates that you can actually use. There are many free ones. So you look at your topic and then you see कि वो match होते हैं कि नहीं. So this was my first presentation that you saw. If you want I will show you a little clip, but it's better if you watch it in the last week ka vlog. So this was my RM, which is research methodology ka topic. I took a very generic one. इतना कुछ था नहीं research methodology के लिए, where I could use like stats and graphs and stuff, but because the topic was like between subjects and stuff, इतना type का नहीं था. So that's the kind I made. Then we had drama and music therapy in therapy subject. We used a lot of drama themes because it's drama and music therapy. So yeah. Then I had pica. Pica is one of the eating disorders. I'm going to make a video about it this week, so you will see it like next to next week. ये भी group presentation था. And pica is basically an eating disorder which is psychopathology. तो उसके लिए we just used like relating to the topic, so like eating, and then I've used like GIFs and stuff also to explain it because that's how I like it. I use a lot of elements than words if you actually see, or texts if you actually see. Then this is the very recent one, which is grief. हम लोग को grief counseling भी सिखा रहे हैं. So because it's grief and grief is like a very sad topic, we have used colors like dark purple, but then to make it a little pleasing to the eyes and थोड़ा bright भी होना चाहिए, so we have used like yellow and yeah, so it's like light blue, sky blue, but because that's also like a gloomy one. So when I look at sky blue, I remember sadness from Inside Out, if you have seen that Pixar movie. So these are the kinds of presentations I've made so far. So if you notice in PPTs, I tend to use very less text. I like PPTs that way. I don't like those PPTs that have like pointers and stuff, because I get it that those pointers act as cues for you to understand, to explain to the audience, but pictures can do the same thing. You don't have to have text. So for something like This one where I'm explaining what is between subject is, between subject has like, let's say 10 participants. You will divide those equally or whatever, randomly you will assign them to the 2 conditions. So this does explain what I want to say. I don't need to put it in a sentence. Another one that I thought of was this. This is actually an example of the aggression wala experiment that is done. If you have done social psychology in SY in Mumbai University, you would know about aggression. Actually semester 6 second semester में आता है वो, so अभी फिलहाल नहीं किया होगा आप लोगों ने. So the first group is given like pro-social wale video games where you are like helping. The other one is like violent video games. So you can see that it is a gun. And then we're like neutral, so you have Tetris video games. So like video games, the names of the conditions and those pictures are explaining what I actually want to say. So I really don't like very wordy text. Like this does make sense. It is like what is drama therapy and stuff like that. But I would really prefer very less text. But because of drama therapy was like a group presentation, like 6 people, we had to look at other, like I had to look at how other people are comfortable with just text, just pictures or no. If you look at Pika, then I used GIFs, like I said. I used just pictures over one slide to explain the different kinds of materials that people who are diagnosed with Pika tend to consume. One way is that you can put pictures like this. Another way is that you could just like put them in a list, like soap, stone, rock, clay, starch. You can do that, but this is more visually appealing, isn't it, than like a list of words. It also depends upon the topic. So for Pika, for I don't know how I could do it, for research is just being creative, where I could use it. But something like diagnostic test, it is going to be very difficult to use pictures. Like it's all so technical, right? So using text is the only way to go. Fir bhi try to use very minimal text. One more tip I want to give everyone is this is like a time management tip that I've seen. So because I was doing it with like groups, I realized how other people are doing it and how I'm doing it. I'm kind of lazy, so I just want to get my work done because I'm lazy, I just want to get my work done very quickly. So I just like to like club stuff and just get it done. So now you will research. Okay, you will have to make PPT and then you will also need a script, because PPT देख के कर लोगे, but then you can't just go through all of the research material, right? You need to have like a proper structure as to what you are going to present. So that is going to be like your script. So I don't know how people tend to do it, but I'm going to tell you how I do it, because I do it like very quickly and मेरा काम थोड़ा कम हो जाता है. So when I'm researching, I get all the material, like I can see, right? When I'm looking at a material, I see कि psychometric properties है, okay. So I always have a Word document open, a new one. I copy paste all of that psychometric part onto it. Then when I'm reading, I find stuff about different classification, different versions, I will copy that. So mera kind of like a skeleton of a script is ready. All I have to do is kind of refine it. There could be things that could be repeated, or there could be things that are a little complicated. So I'll just like rephrase them and say it the way I want to say it. Sometimes rearranging karna padta hai according to your flow of your presentation, subtopics के हिसाब से. When you're researching, उसी टाइम पे स्क्रिप्ट बना लो, तो इट विल बी इजी, मतलब काम बहुत कम हो जाएगा. एंड उसके बाद वंस यू हैव अ स्क्रिप्ट रेडी, यू नो व्हाट यू आर गोइंग टू से, यू नो विच टॉपिक यू आर गोइंग टू से व्हेन, विच पार्ट यू आर गोइंग टू से व्हेन, तब जाके पीपीटी बनाओ. पीपीटी पहले बनाओगे फिर स्क्रिप्ट बनाओगे, इट्स वेरी उल्टा पुल्टा. ओके, सो इफ यू हैवंट थॉट ऑफ दिस, डू दैट. रिसर्च करते करते ही स्क्रिप्ट बनाओ. स्क्रिप्ट होने के बाद पीपीटी फटाक से हो जाएगा, बिकॉज पीपीटी इज जस्ट लाइक अ प्रेसाइज thing of your script, so it's going to be easier to make the PPT there. So now it's the time to actually make the PPT. It's the afternoon and I am still doing my PPT. I normally don't take this long. I would take like 1.5 to 2 hours tops, like max to max if I want to be very creative. to do like 20-25 slides. This one, I don't know what is up with me. I just cannot bring myself to like write my content precisely in a just like very small stuff on the PPT, and that's what I'm struggling with majorly. And I only have to make half of the PPT because I have somebody, like I have a team member, right, who's going to take care of the latter part of the topic. So I had tuition in the evening and I got back, and then I started working on the script, like not working on the script but just remembering what I have to say, obviously, because it depends upon the professor whether he or she will let me actually have paper in my hand, because some are okay with it, some are okay with phone in my hand as well, like the script is on my phone. Some don't want a phone, some don't want paper as well, because they believe that a presenter should make eye contact with everyone. So when you have something in your hand which you can read, you tend to actually like read it and not speak to the audience. So to avoid that, they prefer that you don't have any papers. So that was one thing. So I had to say it over and over again, and then I would look at the PPT and then say my script without looking at my script. I would make mistakes, obviously, because I've not memorized it. I'm not memorizing it, I'm just memorizing the flow of the script, if that makes sense. Coming to another part of the PPT that I did not speak about is the references. So very early on in this video, I spoke about where you should do your research from, right? So that's from research paper. So you have to add references at the end of your PPT, so the professor knows where you have got your stuff from. They may or may not check, but you have to do your part. So there is a certain way of writing those references. Firstly, they should be in APA format, American Psychological Association's given a format. Where would you get this format? So when you actually when you go on Google Scholar and you search the name of the research paper, you will get that research paper. Then you have this cite word underneath. Click on that and you will get the citations in various different formats, and the second one is going to be APA one. Just copy paste it and that is it. It's as simple as that. But when you are putting it up on a slide, all these references need to be in alphabetical order, and also it needs to have an indent. As you can see, there's an indent but there is no alphabetical order, so I'm just going to do that really quickly while I continue talking. So after and there are a lot of other stuff also, that if there is the same author that has done multiple researches, then you will look at the date of the research paper and then you will put that in the chronological order according to the dates. So that's another thing that you need to remember, but generally aisa nahi hota hai, so you can pretty much remember about the chronological the alphabetical order thingy. After that, I want to talk about indent. The indent is this thing, okay? You have to like tab it inside except the first page. So agar the research paper, the citation is just one line, obviously you don't need to do that, but if it's 2 lines, you need to do this. On Google Slides, on PowerPoint, this will not be a problem, but on Canva it is. So how do you do it on Canva? It's pretty simple. I think anybody would come up with this, but if you haven't, it is all right. It's totally okay. So what I have done is that you just write gibberish at where you want the indent, and then you just mask it, not mask it, but just like that gibberish text will be the color of the background. Okay, that's it, and that's how it looks like an indent when actually it is not. So those are the things that I think are like super important. The video ends here, but I do want to show you our PPT actually, so you can just wait, you can see my PPT, and also you can also see how I presented this topic. Okay, but till then, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it, you learned something from this. So like, share and subscribe to this video and to this channel, and I'll see you next Friday with another video on psychology. Bye. So obviously it helps us diagnose
Autism
in children, right? But there is a difference between CARS and other behavioral rating scale. So what CARS 2 did is it created CARS 2 ST, which is standard form, and it retained CARS, the original CARS, and they also created CARS 2 HF, which is high functioning. Then the original CARS was misused as a parent question. So now so what CARS 2 did was they retained CARS as well as they created CARS 2 QPC, which is questionnaire of parent concerns, which is a non-scored form which is completed by the parents or the caregivers. So basically we have 3 classifications: ST, HF and QPC. So let's just understand what these 3 are. So let's start with standard form. Behavior that we want them to imitate, it should be clearly within the child's abilities. Like if you do a backflip and expect the child to do it. So backflip is not the right example for autism, but just say. They have rigid thinking patterns, that's the one. Where they want to take the same route every day or they want to eat the same food every day. Those are the examples given the PSL. Item 7, I'm going too fast. Okay. I feel I'm out of breath. Item 7 is visual response. So these are 15 items of CARS ST. There are 15 items of HF as well. But because of time constraints, I won't go through all of them because as we can see, there are many similar items. So we just going to talk about the 3 pink mark here because we did not see them in the ST.